What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show. Yeah, every story I hear about the Middle East during the global war on terror, it almost doesn't feel real because it wasn't long ago. I mean, it just ended like a year and a half ago or whatever it was. And you know, it's like it's halfway around the world, but you guys saw it. You saw exactly what it was. You saw life in danger at all times, not just your own, but you know, the people who live there and by their own people in many cases with a place like Afghanistan. But when we touched on it a little bit already, but when you saw the imagery that looked like leaving Saigon, basically like a redux of that in August 2021 with Afghanistan falling, were you one of those guys who was like, fuck, we got to go there, we got to go find the interpreters that you know helped me over those years or whatever?
Oh,
like what was going through your head?
Yeah, so all right. So while I was operating over there, I operated under a pseudonym, right? I never used my real name. There's a reason for that, obviously, you know. Of course.
CIA.
Well, you know, now, you know, everybody knows, but dude, I walk down the street all around the world and people go, hey, are you the American badass? And the first thing I go, depends. Are you a good guy or a bad guy? You know, I mean, I get that a lot. You know, obviously, I can't escape the mustache, and I don't care. I don't try to either. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, that mustache, I can see that fucking.
Well,
thing
I don't.
from a mile away.
Everybody thinks I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin, so I take a lot of pictures pretending to be him. Like, yeah, and sometimes it's the what's the name of the Hulk?
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, and then sometimes also what's it? Vin Diesel, right? Not so much. My son actually.
You get Vin Diesel.
Actually, my son gets Vin Diesel. He looks just like Vin Diesel.
I was gonna say I'm calling bullshit on that one.
Yeah, but I have gotten Vin Diesel. I'm like, you know,
those people are fucking blind.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah. Anyways, but to your point, you know, when that happened, when Kabul fell, I don't know how a lot of my soldiers, because they never knew me by my full name, never. And they never had, but they found me. They found me on social media, Facebook, and they called me Commander because for all intents and purposes, I was a commander. And it was like, Commander, can you help me? Can you save me and my family? Can you come? And I tried. Actually, I had a couple guys and their families lined up to go out on a couple lifts. One was an Australian bird, and both of them fell through. I actually wrote them letters to get them passage through the gates, you know, so they could show, hey, you look, you know, this guy, blah, 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 you know, he's vouching for me. I tried everything I could to get these guys out, and to no avail. It was just very hard to get them out. And they're even to this day, they're still texting me. I got a guy 3 days ago just texted me, Commander, how are you? You know, and that's how it starts. And I know what they want. Can you get me? Can you help me? Actually, part of my unit was killed in a raging firefight protecting our base. And it was on the news. And they all went down. They went down blazing, man, to the man. So half my unit's gone, dead, killed. Yeah, trying to defend the camp, you know, the base. And it did make the news. I know who they are. I know the camp. Some people know who it is, but those guys are gone. And there was only 42 guys in my platoon, and so I told my guys, I said, man, you're going to have to run for the hills, but there's nowhere to go. He said, as soon as they find out who you are and who you were working for, you're a dead man. In fact, had one guy text me hiding with his family, literally texting me in hiding. He said, they're outside right now looking for me. What can I do? I don't know what to even tell you at that point. You know, you're Johnny on the spot. But I just felt so bad because they were pleading with me to help them. You know, I'm the guy that was always there for them, leading them, you know, leading into combat, making decisions, you know, taking care of their welfare, you know, and I was the daddy, man, you know, and suddenly daddy can't help them, you know, and it really made a lot of guys mad. You know, my guys were like, you know, now you just kick us to the curb, you know, the chips are down, you're just going to leave us behind. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of guys, I'm sure a lot of them are dead, you know, since then. They can't get out. The roads are blocked. They're contained. You know, it's pretty irritating, man, when I think about that. These are guys, let me tell you how loyal these Afghans were. You know, I remember I had the same 42 dudes. They were some of the best Afghans over there. And we would go do ops all the time. In fact, we had a two-man rule in Afghanistan. A two-man rule stated that, you know, as an American, you never go out without another American. You always at least two Americans no matter what you do, right? But I broke the rule all the time. I usually went out by myself with my guys. That's how much I trust them. In fact, they would stand there and look at me and go, Mr. Dale, don't you worry. He goes, we'll form a wall around you. We will not let anything happen to you. And I knew they wouldn't. I mean, these guys would freaking get it on, man. And I won their hearts and minds because I'm the guy that, you know, if something didn't go right, you know, hey, take the day off. Here's a bonus, you know. Man, we had tons of money for these guys, you know, and I made sure I took care of them, kept them happy. And every time I rotated out for a vacation before I come back, every time I left, I'm the only guy that I can remember where they would actually have a formation and they would lay out all these things like war rugs, traditional women's Afghan dresses, and, you know, all kinds of, you know, cheesy jewelry and stuff, you know, all Afghan stuff for me. And they'd bring me out front and center, and they want to, you know, thank me for, you know, mentor them, and, you know, and they had all these gifts. The war rugs were really cool. I still have those, you know, and they're very famous over. So it's a rug. It's got tanks on it and missiles, and it's like handmade, you know, and hand drawn. They're kind of cool, and so the guys actually really loved me and took care of me. And I knew that I would never have to worry about these guys turning on me. I trained them, I fed them, I paid them, you know. I was just, because that's what you do. You got to be good to your soldiers, man. You got to treat them like your brothers, not like, you know, cannon fodder. And when this happened, you know, and they're asking for my help, and I'm totally helpless. I can't do anything. I've tried. I almost thought I had some on an airplane, and that fell through. You know, they couldn't even get through the gates with the documents. Nothing, man. They were just left out hanging, you know, high and dry. And you know, I think back to Somalia. You know, so in Mogadishu, remember, right? The big firefight, October 3rd, October 4th, and I remember on
92.
Yeah,
93.
yep, 92, and I remember the next morning. Maybe October 6th or 7th, something like that. I can't remember the exact day now. Colonel Garrison at the time, well, General Garrison in the movie Black Hawk Down, he was the Delta Force commander, Colonel Garrison. Very good guy, very good officer, very well liked. And he had a formation very early in the morning, like as soon as the sun came up in front of the hangars, we got all lined up, you know. And I remember he said, I still remember what he said. He goes, gentlemen, he goes, war is nothing more than an extension of politics. And he goes, as of today, we are going to redeploy and go back to the U.S. Operations are over. And we're all standing there just dumbfounded going, wait a minute, we're still missing men. We're still missing people, right? Bodies. You know, these...
Someone's going to lose an election in November, though.
You know, and this, remember, it was Bill Clinton at the time in office, and we're all kind of looking at each other going, wait a minute, as a soldier, you're required to complete the mission, right? That's expected. If you have a mission, your job is to complete the mission. Mission and then men, okay? That's the order. And we have a mission. Our mission was to come there and basically kill or capture Adid, right? The warlord. That mission wasn't complete. Moreover, we've already lost bodies, and we can't find them, right? And there's people out there that need our help, Americans. And so what we expect as soldiers is that our commanders, including the commander-in-chief, the president, Clinton, to have the same resolve to continue the mission and see it to its end. And he didn't. He said, no, we got punched in the nose, we're going to go home. And well, all these men are dead. For what and why? So you can just quit and go home? You know, we want to continue to campaign, at least get our bodies back, you know? And this guy he's done. It made no sense, right? And it's one of the few times where I really started looking at combat and war differently. I started looking at the politics of it all. And sometimes I started questioning, I was like, you know, what is this all about, man? What do we do? Who am I? Why am I doing this in? You know? And then when Kabul happened, I go, there it is again. You know, we wasted so many lives, you know? Wasted so many lives to what end? Nothing. Nothing, right? So those are two occasions in my military career. You know, I'm 60 years old, and I've been in the military since I was 18, you know, or working for the government in this capacity. And those are two incidents that really stand out, and I'm like, wow, you know, the U.S. government had no problem wasting lives, good men, and putting their families and their children out there, you know, out their fathers. And and they didn't have the balls to complete the mission, the same thing they expect from us. If I didn't complete the mission, I get hung out to dry. I'm a shitbird for not doing my job, but they don't do their job, and their excuse is what? What was the excuse? There's no excuse. You think you're
they're guys in offices in D.C. They can make decisions from there.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so, and man, that's one of those things that really, really pisses me off when I think about it, is I think about the good men like Gary, for example, Gary Gordon, that are gone for what? Mark, a friend of mine,
who was Gary?
Gary Gordon, Congressional Medal of Honor winner in Mogadishu.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And others. I mean, they're dead now. I mentioned the SEAL earlier who died a year after, his adopted a little baby girl, It's like, okay, for what? Why'd all that happen, Yeah, sadly, it is what it is. War is a racket. And, when people...
How do you stop that?
You don't stop it. You know why? I'll quote Gustaf Leone. He said, man is a warring ape. We've been, since the dawn of time, since the dawn of man, we've had over 12,000 wars. This is our nature. War is our nature. This is what we do. Why? We're driven by three things. In my estimation. Power, money, and pussy. At the end of the day, procreation. Those are the three things that drive us, right?
Peas.
And we fight for that shit, right? And we kill for that stuff. It's really what it comes down to. And as long as there's power, there's money, and there's pussy, there's going to be conflict, And it's never going to end. And so there's no utopia. Get over it. So now what we've got to do is, if we can, first of all, we don't have to accept it, but just know this is a reality that, combat and war is what it is. Prepare for it, but also know that, life's not fair. And if you can at least come to terms with that, your life will be a little bit easier. Everybody wants to live in utopia, kumbaya. It's not going to happen. It never happens, okay? Let's be realistic about it. So we're not going to stop it. We're not going to change it. The best we can do is we've got to rein in the decision makers, the politicians. Those are the guys that are doing it. You and I aren't going out starting fights. We're not going out starting wars.
In order to rein them in, we have to rein in the people who really make the decisions on them, which is the people who pay them.
Exactly.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.